What is up, people? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another match preview here on the Cup Chasers. That's right. The Arsenal travel to St. Mary's in the FA Cup quarterfinals for another shot at Wembley in this wonderful season. Football is back, baby. The international break has come to a close, and we are at the run-in, people. I'm so excited for this one. So go ahead and smash up the likes if you are as excited as I am for the return of club football action, I should say. Of course, we are on the road to 500 subs, so it would be an absolute honor if you would subscribe to the channel if you are new. Of course, thanks for being here every single time. And I want to know what you're thinking in the comment section down below. Your questions, your thoughts, your comments, your concerns, your admonitions, your every single deepest, darkest dream, desire, and want for this game here. Is Southampton going to be a tough one for us? Are we going to steamroll them? Who's going to play? What will Mikel Arteta do? All of that and more right here on the Cup Chasers for this preview. So right out the rip, let's jump right into it. And for starters, this game will not be as easy as everyone's saying. This game will not be a walkover. It's not going to be Arsenal got an easy draw. They can rotate the whole freaking team and play, Max Dowman, Marley Salmon, just right from the rip, just play all the scrubs. No, and no. Now, it's a weird kind of, it's a weird kind of moment, of course, with all the noise about Arsenal injuries and pullouts and people not playing for the international team. And so at the time of this recording, Mikel Arteta has not given his pre-match presser yet. So we have not got the team news, but I don't expect Eze to play. I think there's a higher chance that Zubamendi and Rice, or at least one of them, play. Definitely Eze's out. Of course, Marino's still out. I doubt if we'll see Madueke in this one. But the lineup is going to be difficult to predict. I think the lineup's going to be difficult to predict. I think just based on not sure who's fit. I really want Martin Odegaard to be in this game. Like desperately need Martin Odegaard to be in this game. We do not look the same when Kai Havertz starts in the 10. We just don't look the same. Without a real passer, progressor, ball carrier type player in the number 10 role for us, it's just never, ever the same. Now, could we possibly start Bukayo Saka in there in the number 10 role? I think that'd be a desperate move, and it might mean that Max Dowman starts, which would also be a kind of a weird move. I really don't think Dowman just go ahead and throw him into the fire. I mean, this is still an FA Cup quarterfinal. Southampton are 14 games unbeaten. I'll say that again, 14 matches unbeaten. They've won 11 of them and drawn 3. That does include the win at Craven Cottage. Let's be honest with ourselves, though. Fulham didn't really put their best foot forward in that one. But Southampton did look good. They did look like they wanted to play out from the back. I did watch some of that game, and they did look like they were committed to playing out from the back, which should suit Arsenal. It should suit us, depending on how hodgepodge the lineup is. When we've kind of Frankensteined a squad together for these lesser opposition teams, we have started poorly because there hasn't been a lot of cohesion. There hasn't been a lot of connectivity, comfortability with who's in the lineup, in what position, where do people need to go. It doesn't really seem to gel for like 10 to 15 minutes. We've noticed that in the game in the last FA Cup match versus Mansfield. And in the game versus Port Vale, I think was the same, or Portsmouth, I should say, was the same in the Carabao. So it'll be very interesting to see just how hodgepodge the lineup will be. But as far as Southampton are concerned, they also have some injury issues, couple of suspensions. So it won't be their necessarily first 11 strongest side, but still they have built this 14-game unbeaten run around their strong defending. If you look at their last 5 games, they have not given up 2 goals in any of those matches in the last 5. So they are definitely going to look to stifle us. I think they're going to sit in when they do not have the ball, but I do expect them to be a little bit more expansive when they do get on the ball, not necessarily just hoofing it forward, hoping for the knockdowns. Flynn Down is out. So also, it looks like Loreen might not be in there either. So it'll be interesting to see who starts up top and whether or not they target him, whether or not it's a more of a hit and pray kind of situation, or whether they're going to look to play through the lines. I expect until we prove that we completely press them out of their passing game, I think they might give it a go. When they are on the ball, they are at home. It is a FA Cup quarterfinal. You know the crowd's going to be up for it. They're going to be absolutely ready for this one, going to make it a proper cup tie. It is a 3 o'clock kickoff here on the East Coast, meaning it is an 8 o'clock kickoff in England under the lights, crowd roaring, ready to go for a classic FA Cup bout. And so they'll be up for it. They will 100% be up for it. They will be ready to go. So what are we expecting to see? We have to control the midfield. We have to win the second balls. We need to slow it down and keep possession and build it up. And then when we do find the breaks, it's going to be on the outsides. It's going to be beating their outside backs and getting crosses in, cutbacks, maybe balls across the front, which is why I want Victor Gyökeres to start. I guess Kai Havertz. I guess I wouldn't mind Kai Havertz starting. Gyökeres is on a tear, though, and so I think he should get some minutes in this game just to keep that momentum going. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Kai Havertz start in front of Victor. Hopefully, we don't see them both start, which would mean that Kai would be in the 10, which I definitely want to avoid. I think that if this becomes like a, if we let it go 0-0 for a while and we give them some joy in this game, the crowd could really, really get behind them and make this really, really uncomfortable for us. We unequivocally cannot let in the crosses. That's where they're going to look to get it wide, especially if we control the midfield and we kind of pass them out of the midfield, box them out of the midfield. They are going to look to get balls in on the crosses, and we unequivocally cannot let the crosses in. That's been an Achilles heel of ours. When the ball comes in, it's known to cause chaos from the wide areas. So it'll be very, very interesting to see if Ben White starts or if Timber starts. I think that we should start with Mosquera and then give Timber some minutes, or the other way around. I think it's probably better strategy to go strong from the beginning and then pull people off after we're winning the game. I definitely think Saka should play. So I'm really, really hoping Odegaard's fit. We need a central mid. We need somebody in the 10 that isn't Saka, because if Saka plays there, are we then going all the way down the line to start Max Dowman? Because Madueke's injured, so I'm not sure how he's going to solve this issue of not having an actual number 10 in there if Odegaard does not play. I really need him to, though. I really, really need him to be fit and available for this game. He has been in training, and so hopefully he will be there. And I feel like Arteta's just keeping it close to the chest on all the injuries, on, giving out updates on this and that. Obviously, he likes to say, oh, we'll have another training session today, another assessment today, and then we'll make the decision. That's probably what we're going to hear in the presser later on today, but I'm not sure. We really, like if Kai Havertz starts in the 10, this might be a struggle of a game, especially if their central midfielders are bossing him around and making it a physical battle for those second balls and those knockdowns. And especially if it, comes out like it did in the Carabao Cup final where he wasn't winning anything. And he was trying to get almost level with Gyökeres as far as how deep the line is, and he was the target guy. And then there's nobody to win the second ball. That would be a disaster. That would be definitely like a rerun of the Carabao Cup final where we didn't have any control. And if we don't have any control in this game, it's going to be a proper cup tie. It's going to be a proper cup match that we don't want it to be. We want this to be 3-0 in the first half and cruise like we did versus Portsmouth. But if we don't come locked in, ready to go with the right strategy as far as winning the midfield battle, this could get tricky. This could get very, very tricky, and I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be tricky at all. Arsenal do have a horrendous record at St. Mary's. It's not great. We have won the last 2 meetings with Southampton in all competitions, but if you look at the last 5 head-to-head meetings, they have won 2 and we have won 2. And of course, there was that 1-1 draw that pretty much sank everything in 22-23. If you recall, I certainly do. It was a very, very gross draw that to destroy our hopes that season. And man, try not to think about that one, because this could be another type of dent in our season if things do not go well for us. It's important to note that the 14 game unbeaten run for Southampton is not about chaos. It's been about control and good disciplined defense, which makes me think that they are going to sit in. They're going to be compact. They're going to be tight. There's not going to be any space, which means we have to attack the wings, which means we have to unequivocally go at our man on the outside. That's been something we've struggled with in recent weeks, and I think that because Southampton are going to back themselves at home to keep it tight and be strong defensively, we are going to have to attack the wingers, force the center defenders to come to defend when we're trying to get to the byline, cut back or cross right across the line. It's going to have to be like that in order, I think, to get some joy, especially in the first tactical battles that we will see before the game kind of settles and breaks into its pattern and dynamic. And so if we do that, I think we'll have some success. I think we should be just fine. But it's also important to note that our own form is, we've been looking at the same kind of stuff as far as our form goes. We have been getting the results over the line, but we do a tricky injury kind of situation. It'll be very, very interesting to see what Mikel Arteta does. Southampton's momentum is definitely real, but it's not at the highest level, obviously, in the championship. We should win this game, but it's not going to be easy. It's definitely not going to be easy. We are creating enough, And despite what it may look like on the eye test, the stats are there. 8 xg versus 4 xg against in the last 5 games. 70. We're having 15 shots a game. We're definitely producing consistent chance creation, but it just depends on who's got their shooting boots, who's got their scoring boots on. We've created 10 big chances in the last 5 games, at least 2 a game. Southampton haven't been giving up much, though. They haven't been scored on more than once in the last 5 games. So we're definitely going to have to be on our P's and Q's for this one. It's definitely going to be closer than we expected. Obviously, there's plenty of injuries or pullouts or whatever in the Arsenal side. Zubamendi actually had a little knee thing. Saka and Rice, of course, were rested. I think Saliba and Gabriel were just rested. Timber is the important one. We'll see how he is. He actually had an injury. Trossard should be fine. I think he played for Belgium, and Odegaard is the big one. Odegaard really is the big one. We need him back. We need him to show his quality in the run-in, and to kind of pick us up and get us over the line. I'm desperate for him to play. Our quality is there, of course, but it's going to depend on who's in, who's out. And I think it's very, very, very pivotal whether or not Odegaard plays. If it's Kai Havertz in the middle with Gyökeres in front of him, or even Jesus in front of him, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult, and I don't think we will establish the control that we want and need without having a controller type player in the middle. And I think that will make this game a lot closer than we would have expected. Although there are some injury issues on the other side. Flynn Downs is out. Kuru, Matsuki are suspended, and Downs are suspended. Jack Stevens, Leo Cienza are also injured. And so they are not at their full strength either, which might be a good thing for us, of course. It's going to be about whether or not we can beat their press and whether or not we win second balls. So are we going to, if we can't beat the press, are we just going to start hoofing it forward? And in that case, it comes down to second balls again. We have to win the second balls and keep control in the midfield. If this becomes a back and forth where they're winning 50-50 balls in the middle of the park, we're going to do a lot more work than the class gap suggests, the quality gap suggests. If we don't win the middle of the park, it's going to be, and we let them have some joy in there. It's going to be back and forth, and they're going to get chances. It's going to be stop-start. There's going to be lots of free kicks, lots of corner kicks, and we don't want that kind of a game. We want the slow, boring Arsenal where we just control the match. It's 3-0 at halftime, and it's just an absolute dead rubber, boring game at the end in the second half. That's 100% what we need to see. I think Southampton's approach is definitely going to be stay alive, make sure that they're in the game, for a long period of time, and they don't get blown away early, and that they can, keep the crowd on their side and remain in the game and maybe snatch one late, or perhaps push it to overtime, pins, etc. I do want to mention that I did watch some of the Southampton Fulham game. Fulham played a half a team and didn't really go for it. And so that might be why Fulham, the Southampton, got a lot of joy versus Fulham. I don't think it's going to be the same for this one. Obviously, we want to get back to Wembley, and so our mentality is going to be way higher, way stronger, way more locked in than the Fulham game. Obviously, this is a quarterfinal. It's not we're not in the third round here. I think we have to take this very, very, very seriously. And if we don't, we could get slapped. We could get punched in the mouth. And that would be very, 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 very bad way to come back from the break, especially since we've had some joy in the break. Victor Gyökeres, 4 goals in 2 games for his nation. Hero all the way, hero for Sweden, making it all the way to the World Cup on the back of those Gyökeres goals. And so I think we do have, a good mentality going into this one. And I think that it's very, very important, very, very important for the rest of the season to get this win. I think it would be a huge dent in the morale, in the mentality, in the positivity that we are looking to see at the end of this season to not get through this game. So we have to take this very, very, very seriously. And so, yeah, if we can get past the first line of defense, if, supposing when they do press a little bit higher, we need to get behind their first line before the back line can get set and play quickly in those moments. So when we do break that first line with a pass through, we need to make this game not necessarily as much about territory and more about, can we hit them quick when they are not set? And that's always been, my approach and my ideas on how to beat low blocks, a team that is going to defend really, 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 really deep and concerted and energetically, at the back. We need to make sure that they can't compress the space. So when we play out, we got to play quick. When we do beat the first line of the press, we have to play 1-2 touch stuff, quick transition stuff. And if we do that, I think we could absolutely, beat them pretty bad as long as we got our scoring boots on. As long as we have our finishing boots on, that should be how it goes. It should be good. So, let's see how. I think it's kind of a lazy take just to assume we're just going to run them over because, the form that they're in is in the championship and it's not not as strong as far as the opposition for them. And, another lazy take is that the squad is deep enough to just go and steamroll them. It's going to be a tighter game than most people think. It's going to be a tough game. Absolutely going to be a tough game. I think if we control the ball and Southampton have to defend for a long, long time, for long stretches, I think that our quality will shine through and we will get the win. I think it's going to be low scoring, even if they make it a game and, make it a proper cup tie, make it really loud, make it really difficult for us. I think that it's going to be it's going to be low scoring regardless. But I mean, if Arsenal score first and if we score first and early and Southampton have to come out, that could change it. That could 100% change it. And I think the biggest thing we need to focus on going into the game is we don't want this to become a proper cup tie. We don't want the crowd to get behind them. We need to establish an early control, an early dominance, and keep it where there's like a fight for territory and keep them suffocated and score early so that, our quality can shine through as they try to hit us, as they try to come back at us. But yeah, but like I say, it really depends. It just really depends on the lineup. I think that the biggest thing this game can turn on is our midfield control, and that comes from who is going to be in there. And I'm just begging, just praying 100% that it's going to be Martin Odegaard. Because if it's not, we're going to struggle. If it's not, we are definitely going to struggle. That for sure. Oh, it's not going to be comfortable. No chance will this one be comfortable unless we just come out like a house on fire and score often and early. That's the only way that this could be comfortable for us is early goals and lots of them, and then we start to sub off the best players. That's the approach I would take. And so honestly, my predicted lineup, or at least the lineup that I want, would be, I think Kepa's going to start. I think it's important. And I think that Arteta will be thinking along the same lines. It's important when a keeper makes a cut mistake and then has to think about it for however long. It's important to get right back in the saddle and have another opportunity to prove yourself and make up for that mistake. And so I definitely expect Kepa to start in this one. And then if Timber is healthy, he's got to start. We need to get him back up to match fitness and full speed. So if Timber is healthy, for me, he starts. If he's not, I would say that Christian Mosquera should start this match. Ben White did play 90 plus minutes over the 2 games for England. And so, but if he's good, I mean, if Ben White's good to go, I won't mind seeing him start, to be honest with you. I honestly do think he's third choice as far as right backs are concerned, at least in my mind, as far as Christian Mosquera is a better defender. And of course, Timber is better all around. So we shall see. If Timber is healthy, I want him to start. Now, it's very possible that we see both Gabriel and Saliba. But there is a small chance, I think, that maybe Mosquera starts in the middle alongside one of them. The Magalhaes injury was, pretty early in the international break. So it might be Gabriel, and Saliba will get even more rest, even though I don't think his ankle is too bad. I think he should be fine going forward. I wouldn't be upset if they both started. Gabriel Saliba started, and we just exert dominance from the beginning. Start with the strongest lineup, and then come at them, and then take the important players off, the people who we definitely need to rest for Tuesday against Sporting. So obviously Arteta is going to have that in his mind, and so that's why I think we might see some of the the natural rotations, but I expect it would be Saliba to rest if one of them is resting, and we'll see Mosquera and Gabriel. And then I expect Calafiori to start, actually. Or maybe lewis-skelly out there on the left. But if Hincapié is good to go, we might see him as well. So that left back spot, it's kind of up in the air. Honestly, I kind of don't want to see lewis-skelly. I kind of want to see an indication that we are taking this very, very seriously. Like I think we should, like I think we need to. And so I don't necessarily want to see Miles Lewis-Skelly. I don't think it'll be a problem. But as far as minutes are concerned, unless we smash Sporting on Wednesday, this might be Lewis-Skelly's last shots as far as the season is concerned, especially if we get everyone healthy for the run-in. I don't necessarily expect to see him much for the rest of the season. But we could see him in this one in that left back spot, maybe even in a central midfield role if by the end of the game, perhaps maybe at halftime, if we are already cruising. And then, that brings me to the midfield. I wouldn't be surprised again if we went Zubi Rice. I also wouldn't mind that. I'd be fine with that if we went Zubi and Rice. Strongest midfield pairing. But also, if Norgard starts, I'm fine with that. I'm not sure exactly on Zubimendi's knee. That was his issue. And, for some of the players that pulled out of the internationals, they simply said, oh, it's rest, it's overworked, it's too many minutes. But they actually cited Zubimendi's knee in one of the articles I was reading. So he might actually not play. And if Zubi rests, the Norgard-Rice combo would be just fine for me. And we may actually see, someone else as well in there. It could be Miles Lewis-Skelly, maybe. I don't want to see that from the start, to be honest with you. I doubt that we like I say, we need to go a little bit stronger than that. So I don't necessarily think that he should start. But if Norgard starts in place of one of the starting center midfielders, that won't bother me at all. And I think that would be fine. It would be totally fine. He had a good run in the international break with Denmark. So I don't, if Zubi needs a little bit more rest, that's fine with me. If, if Declan needs a little bit more rest, that's also fine. I will be a little bit concerned if it's neither of them. If it's neither of them, I'll be a little bit concerned we aren't taking it as seriously as we should. So I definitely want to see one of them. Both of them would be fine to, like, again, it would fit the get up 5-0 and then rotate kind of narrative, but we shall see, of course. And then across the front line, I think it's definitely Trossard. I want Trossard to start. He came into the Carabao Cup final and was a little bit better than he has been. And so I think he should start. And I want Victor Gyökeres to start. And I want Bukayo Saka to start on the for the front line. But if that's not the case and Kai Havertz starts, I won't be upset with that as far as leading the line. And honestly, I don't necessarily think we should see Jesus until this one's wrapped. But also, I will say the same thing that I said about Lewis-Skelly. This could be Jesus's last chance, really, to get minutes, unless we're destroying somebody, and we're up by a lot of goals, and we're just rotating for rest purposes and managing the load purposes. I don't necessarily think that Jesus, I think he's on his way out, honestly. I'm not sure he has a whole lot, much more to offer as far as quality going forward, as far as goals going forward. But if he starts in this one, it might be his last start. And I think that if he does, we might struggle. Unless we really adapt. If he does start and we are hoofing long balls to him, I think that we will struggle. And, if he tries to be the target man, I think that we will definitely struggle. But as we noticed when Havertz was up there a few games ago, we did kind of switch our strategy and weren't hitting the long balls as much. So if Jesus does start up top, I hope we will change the strategy. Same goes for Kai Havertz. If Havertz starts up top, it could be a bit more of a hybrid type of approach as far as hitting the long ones and as far as passing on the ground. But I think we do need to see more of the playing through the lines if Kai Havertz is going to be up top, just the way he likes to operate instead of kind of targeting him. I think that's kind of the secondary game plan if, Southampton's press has just given us a bit too many problems. We can go long, but if Jesus is up there, that's not what we should be doing. And so it'll be interesting to see. I do think this could be his last, obvious minutes for Jesus in the season, but I don't necessarily want to see him from the start, to be honest with you. And I definitely think it's important that Saka starts. Really, obviously, if Odegaard isn't in the team, he'll still be wearing that armband. And so it'll be very important that he leads the line well, gets, some momentum going for this run in. As far as Saka is concerned, he wasn't awesome in the Carabao Cup final and then, pulled out of the England squad, which I have no issue with whatsoever, and so now is the time to step up. Now is the time to get that momentum going, the ball rolling down the hill for the rest of the season. And I don't think that, there's going to be a better opportunity to kind of boost the confidence. If we come out and play like I know we can, and we do the right things as far as not letting Southampton get set too often. And when they do get set, for F's sake, attack the outside backs. Just beat them. Just beat them, man. Especially if they're not going to double team you. Especially if they're going to give you space to go at your man. Because they might say, look, Arsenal don't necessarily attack the outside backs as much as they should. We didn't do it versus Leverkusen. We did it a little bit more in the second game versus Leverkusen, and we found some joy. If Southampton don't expect us to do that and they give 1v1s to Trossard and Saka on the outsides, or even Martinelli on the left, if he does start, we should attack the outside backs. Attack them. Go at them. Beat your man and cause the defense to have to shift. And when they do, there will be holes for the cutback. There will be holes for the tap in on the back post. We have to do that. I think that's where the game, as far as attacking wise for us, if we give them too much, if we're too slow, that has to be the attack. If we're gonna play real slow, we have to attack the outside backs like every single chance we get. If we play quickly, however, we can get more balls through the center. We can have more vertical attacking, and it'll depend on who starts, right? So if Gyökeres starts, there can be more vertical passes, more balls over the top, more balls into the channel. Than if we had Kai up there, which would require, personally, I think, more passing through the lines and a bit more intricacy to our play. And it all depends on whether or not we let them get set and how quickly we decide to play in transition, how quickly we decide to play before Southampton are set, especially when we break through the first line of defense. So I think that is where this game, the crux of this game, is going to come down to how quickly Arsenal want to play, and if we play slow, how much and how often we attack the outside backs. If we play quickly, I think we can devastate them. And so I'm excited about this one. I think we should definitely do well. I think it is very, very, very important that we do well in this one. Just like it would have been really, really bad if we went out to Leverkusen as far as the season is concerned. This would be, I think, going out here in the quarterfinal would be way worse than losing the final of the Carabao Cup. I think it would have a much, much worse effect. Obviously, we had 2 weeks off to, kind of let the Carabao Cup simmer and then, let it kind of pass from our memory, pass from our thoughts, to where we've kind of put it in the rearview mirror. But if we botch this one as well, it could be far more damaging, in my opinion, to the run in the rest of the season than the loss in the final, in the Carabao Cup final was. And so this game is of maximum importance. We absolutely have to go for it. And we cannot take them lightly. They're 14 games unbeaten, Southampton. 14 games unbeaten. And so they will not be afraid of us. They are in 6th position in the championship, looking to at least make the playoffs to come up. And in this recent run, they've been playing better than some of the Premier League teams. Like Southampton at the moment could probably beat Spurs. They could probably beat Burnley. They defend better than both Wolves, Burnley, Spurs. They probably defend better than West Ham at this point. And they're looking like they may just make it into the Premier League next season. And so we should treat them like a Premier League team. We should treat them like we're going to see them next season, and it's going to be, just as tough as any other Premier League game. So I think we have to take this so seriously. We have to take this one so incredibly seriously because it is a potential banana skin, man. And if we F around arrogant, hey, we're the Premier League team, they're the lower league side, we're going to smash them. If that's the attitude, we ourselves could get slapped in the mouth. And so to avoid that, it's just we have to be like, look, we're in the run-in now. We're going to smash everyone. That's the attitude I think we need to come into this game with. We're going to take every single game as seriously as possible. There are no more easy games. There are no more easy draws. If we do that, this could be the trap that I mentioned in the title of the video. If we come in with arrogance, it could be a very, very long day for us and a very difficult tie. And I think we have to take it so seriously. Have to take this so seriously. Now, I have built a kind of a, what would I call it here? Like a preview packet, kind of an AI system that I've done to build, like a preview packet of things. And in my preview packet, I've made sure it's given me some gambling tips. And so, be sure to gamble responsibly, people, of course. But if you're looking to bet this one, it's going to be low scoring. I definitely think it'll be low scoring. Of course, we're going to need, as far as player props, you would wait for who is going to wait for the lineups, of course. Safest play, you're not going to get much value on it, but the safest bet is going to be Arsenal to qualify. And if you're going to try to find some value in this game, it's probably going to be under 3.5, and Arsenal to qualify would be the parlay to do. If you're feeling a little shaky on that, I would say under 3.5. I expect this one to be, if we get scored on 2-1, I don't think we're going to give up too many goals in this one. And I don't think Southampton are going to give up too many goals either. So, this could be 1-0 to the Arsenal, 2-1. And if it's a horrible, if it's a horror show, it could be 1-0 to Southampton. To be honest with you, they do not give up many goals. They haven't given up more than 2 goals. They haven't given up more than 1 goal in the last 5. Let alone more than 2 goals, and obviously we don't give up many goals. So, for the neutral, I would say Arsenal to qualify and under 3.5 goals is your parlay play here, because you're not getting much value on Arsenal just to qualify. I think the last time I looked, the line was at -1,000. So there's no value there. You're gonna have to put some stuff together. Obviously, you could parlay it with other games in the FA Cup. But there's no value in Chelsea versus Port Vale either, So it's if you're looking to bet this one, I would just go with the under. Expect a defensive kind of game. So, yeah, that's been the preview. I think that it's going to be a tough game, of course. Obviously, we will be on tenterhooks for Mikel Arteta's press conference. This one is going to turn on whether or not we can play a ball-controlling midfielder in the middle of the park. If Kai Havertz is in the 10, this one could get dicey. If Martin Odegaard is there in the 10, which I'm begging and praying the football gods he is, I think we're going to be just fine in this one. My prediction is Arsenal 2, Southampton 0. And if we, I think that is a very likely outcome if we take it seriously and really control the ball, the tempo, and keep the game slow. I think Southampton will defend really well for a while, and then eventually we will be able to, up the pressure, and eventually get this one over the line. So, yeah, once again, that has been the preview. I really appreciate everyone that's been here. Go ahead and smash up the likes on your way out. If you're new, it would be an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to welcome you to the community. We are on the road to 500. It does help the channel so much, pushing it out to other viewers, new viewers, and the like. So go ahead and get that done for me if you would. I would really appreciate it. And, of course, make sure you have that notification bell on so you know when we are live. There will be watch-alongs tomorrow for the FA Cup games. So make sure you're locked in there, of course. And I always want to know what you're thinking down in that comments section below. Are Arsenal going to win this one? Is it going to be a blowout? Is it going to be a tight 0-0 to the very end and penalties? Is Southampton going to give us some trouble? Let me know what you're thinking in that comments section down below. Of course, I appreciate everyone that has made it this far. That has been the preview. Come on, you Gunners, and you. We'll see me next time.